Welcome to NASA's Johnson Space Center, one of 10 NASA field centers and the heart of human spaceflight operations for the past 50 years. It is here that history has been made and will continue on as the men and women of NASA push the boundaries of exploration.
You are now leaving a museum and entering the Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center, the home of human spaceflight and home to the thousands of dedicated men and women who work here. This isn't an exhibit or a theme park. This is the real thing. I'm Gene Sarna, Apollo astronaut, and it is with great pride and pleasure that I welcome you on this tour. What makes the Johnson Space Center special is that the elite men and women who go into space work and train here. What makes us successful is the teaming of the astronauts and the people who support them. From the largest indoor underwater training facility in the world to the operation of the largest orbiting science laboratory, the International Space Station, Johnson Space Center has always been on the leading edge of discovery and innovation. I was the last man to have ever set foot on the moon, but not for long. Right here and right now, the men and women of JSC are working on a new generation of spacecraft for human spaceflight. It is indeed an exciting time to be here. On this tour, you will share and experience the spirit and the history that is the Johnson Space Center. Welcome.
Did you ever wonder what the Johnson Space Center looked like back in the 1960s? Before the center was built, it was a pasture for cattle. You'll notice a longhorn cow to your left as we enter the JSC grounds. This area is now used as an educational opportunity for students learning about agriculture and farming.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
John F. Kennedy gave this rousing speech at Houston's home, Rice University, in 1961. Rice provided 1,000 acres for the new NASA Center, land that had been donated to the university by Humble Oil Company, now ExxonMobil. Additional land, just over 600 acres along what is now NASA Parkway, was bought for $1.4 million. JSC was built to look like a college campus, to encourage a spirit of collaboration and innovation, a tradition that continues today. We're now approaching Rocket Park. We'll take a closer look at the rockets on the way back. Why do on your right is Building 17, home of Orion, the flagship of our nation's next-generation space fleet. Astronauts will ride Orion far beyond low Earth orbit on deep space missions to asteroids and to Mars. The Orion Project Office is leading this historic development effort from here in Houston, making the Johnson Space Center responsible for the Orion crew module, crew training, and mock-up facilities, as well as mission control. This building also houses the Space Systems Laboratory, where food scientists develop and process food for space flights. Most food is made from scratch and then freeze-dried or thermostabilized. Since there is no cold storage for food on the station, these scientists have developed more than 100 foods that meet nutrition and palatability requirements and can be stored up to 3 years at room temperature. Celebrity chefs, including Emerald Lagasse and Mitchell Ray, have worked with the Space Food Systems Laboratory to contribute recipes to spice up astronaut meals. On your right, you'll see a large gray building. The Space Environment Simulation Laboratory houses two very large vacuum chambers, both of which are National Historic Landmarks. The larger chamber A, is used to test spacecraft, and Chamber B is used to test spacesuits. Next to that building, you'll see some large gas storage tanks, which hold liquid nitrogen at that 320 degrees below zero. Nitrogen is pumped into a vacuum chamber and used to simulate the cold, harsh atmosphere of space, so engineers can test the tolerance of spacecraft and equipment. International Space Station astronaut Sonny Williams knew the chill of space firsthand. While living aboard the space station, she performed 7 spacewalks.
On my first spacewalk, we were required to work on the solar array on the very top of the space station. We were there actually for an entire night pass. Initially I was cold, but by the end of the 45 minutes, I was really cold. Probably the coldest.
Space is also completely silent because sound waves don't carry in a vacuum. Outside the station, for 9 spacewalks, astronaut Mike Feig was able to heal sounds.
Sound will not travel through the vacuum of space, but if you're holding on to something that's being manipulated, sound will travel through your suit and you can hear it. For instance, every time we use our electric drill driver, we can feel the vibrations through our suit as sound. And every time we would make an electrical or fluid connection, we could actually hear the click. Only if we were actually touching things could we hear.
We're now approaching the Space Vehicle Mock-Up Facility, featuring full-size models of spacecraft. Inside, you'll learn how the extensive training astronauts do here prepares them to do their jobs in space.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now approaching the astronaut training facility, our first stop on today's tour. Please remain seated until the tram comes to a full and complete stop, and exit to the right side of the tram and right side only.